I guess the best way to go back to is where I started. At 7 years of age or so, I got into photography. I started buying photography magazines and was interested in it, and managed to convince my father to help me buy a camera. And I like to say a camera was the first thing I ever bought with my own money at 7 years of age. And I still remember the camera. I remember the smell, the feel, everything about it. It was just a, sort of landmark point of my life at that point. I had to work all summer to pay my father back for the camera, so I invested a lot of energy and effort into it, and I cherished it. I just cherished the camera itself. I cherished the process of photography. And we worked out a deal where he would essentially develop anything I would shoot. So I spent years with no training. I really didn't even read books at that point. I just experimented with a 100% manual camera, and got to a point, where I just loved the art of photography at that point. The photography took a little bit of a back seat. It wasn't as big of a passion, but it was always there for me. I always have had a camera with me. I've always traveled with, or even if I was in a sports situation in college, I would always have a camera along. I think one sort of barrier for me was when I got to a point where I really needed to get into a darkroom type of setting to really advance my skills and whatnot, and we just couldn't do that at the time in my family. And so I sort of plateaued, I think, at that point as an artist. All that really changed, like a lot of people now, when digital cameras became affordable and high quality. And I got totally back into photography when digital cameras hit the market, and post-processing with Photoshop. In the interim, I'm an electrical engineer. I'd studied computer science and IT and whatnot, and been in that career. So the darkroom, being in the computer, and digital photography, being able to marry those two things back together really invigorated me, got my passion going again, and I set about saying, I'm gonna really pick this up again and go. And set about taking workshops. Met a lot of people along the way in the workshop environment that had just a profound influence on me, very supportive, very encouraging, uplifting, and I don't know, inspirational, I guess, at a level, which got me sort of re-energized. Part of the reason I like to teach workshops now is the impact it had on my life. I'm now able to hopefully give that back to other people. Through that, I gained enough expertise, a lot of late nights reading and studying. With the internet these days, you can pretty much learn about anything you want to invest the time and effort into learning. So developing my skills both in digital darkroom and in photography, working and training with other people in workshop environments primarily. I got to a point where I felt like I could, with a straight face, go out and charge money for my work. And I kind of see it as a blessing for me that the journey transpired the way it did, because I did sort of make a conscious effort when I'm sitting down trying to figure out what to do with my career and what college I wanted to go to use one half of my brain, and I became an engineer and really honed that skill set in problem solving and the technical side of my consciousness, if you will. And then the photography piece, like I said, it's always been there for me, but it's sort of been dormant. It laid at a level, but more of it at a dormant level for years. And then when I really decided to bring that to the fore, I already had this sort of skill set around problem solving, working with people, understanding the technology, whether it's in the computer or in the camera. All that was kind of there, and I could just leverage that and really focus on growing the creative side of the equation. And now, I feel like they're very balanced. I've been able to bring the creative aspect up, and then what I can now bring to a shoot and bring to a client is a combination of both of those things. I'm very comfortable on a set with a lot of chaos and a lot of clutter, and managing the relationship side of the equation, or dealing with all the problems that come up. A lot of photography to me is just problem solving, whether it's the exposure on the face or how the shoot's going or the set. You're constantly solving problems while at the same time being simultaneously creative. And I don't know, it's just really, for me, it's very fulfilling to have to use both parts of your brain all day long to be successful at what you're trying to accomplish. The workshop that I try to create is really modeled around the workshops that had the most impact on my life, as really not just as a photographer, but really as a person. And that's a series of workshops from a guy named Craig Tanner, who used to run a site called the Radiant Vista. It's now called the Mindful Eye. And I don't want to represent this model and these words as my own. I really have just sort of tried to emulate what he's done for years. And that's build an environment where it's educational, but also inspirational and motivational. I'm not here to build an environment where people come in and watch me do something and try to learn by osmosis, or where they come in and I set up all the lights or have people set up lights and everything, and pretty girls show up and they walk home with a bunch of pictures but don't know how to do that themselves. The workshop I'm trying to build is one where people learn technical skills, they're able to grow technically, but equally, if not more importantly, they're able to be self-reflective, figure out what their barriers and hang-ups are, and get them inspired and motivated to grow and move beyond their own self-limiting thoughts. So, and then the final aspect of it is working on creative process, just helping people get through those purely creative barriers. You know, you got technology barriers, you got your own judgmental self-talk stuff going on, and then being creative, you know, being new and fresh and developing your own voice. We talk about all of that in this setting, and I try to bring it together through chaos and through a lot of challenge, and then through challenge people grow, and then we sort of introspect on that.